that's that. Without saying a word across all lines of bipartisan, all lines. That tells everybody, hey man, our vote is open for the highest fucking bidder. I gotta explain the agendas that's harming us before I talk about the solutions.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Indigo. What's up, Indigo?
Hey, y'all. What's up?
Hey, Indigo. I'm not sure. What happened? Did he go into the Matrix?
No, I landed. I was trying to identify the problems before I introduced the solutions. But that seems to be a tough ordeal on this app for some people. Nobody else gonna go? Okay, another problem is identity politics, intersectionality. Stop allowing that to influence our perspectives politically. Again, our true intersection is our ethnic group, not what makes us different. Once we get a better understanding of that, it would be easier for people to understand why we must develop a code of conduct and a black agenda, and nothing should supersede that, nor should anything be advocated simultaneously.
So, would you vote unapologetic?
Absolutely not. Voting for the lesser of two evils is not a choice. That's a dilemma.
I mean, I get what you're trying to say. And while I agree, I have to respectfully disagree. Like, I agree with what you're saying, but the reason why I want to disagree with it is simply because I am tired of people assuming that black people are monoliths and that all black people need to vote and think and act and be the same way. And we can't expect that. Not all black people want what all other black people want. And so as a race, though there are things that may benefit us in the long run, it's immature of us to think that we can actually come together on a global scale in that way without actually giving room for people to be who they are and to have difference of opinions.
Well, I
get that, but is it
an assumption? You're absolutely right.
But is it an assumption? Because black folk have historically predominantly voted Democrat. So I don't know if people are just assuming that.
Republican.
I don't think people are just assuming that black folk gonna do X, Y, Z. But history has shown that's what they do. They stay down with Democrats no matter what.
Historically, black people Republican. So
you might be in the Matrix.
There's that. Number one. Number two is
I didn't hear that again. You was in the Matrix.
Say it again. You was in the Matrix.
Can you hear me now?
Just start from the beginning.
Okay, I was saying that historically, black people started off as Republicans, so we can't necessarily use that logic because things change, and the way that what the Republican Party used to represent, it no longer represents that, and what the Democratic Party once represented, it doesn't represent that anymore either. The thing is,
but in this current time,
there may have been a great deal of black people who do vote Democratic, right? But also, the way the black community is, we don't allow space for black people not to have that type of view. So if there are black Republicans, the ones that aren't afraid to actually admit it, there's going to be people that aren't saying what they're voting simply for the role of acceptance and being accepted by black people because they know that they're going to be judged if they vote otherwise. So we can't say that most black people vote Democratic when in reality we think most black people vote Democratic. We don't know what they actually do.
But since 1964, Black people have arbitrarily voted Democrat, right? And since LBJ, a Democratic president that became president did not get more than 39% of the white vote. That's documented, right? And then the Southern strategy is when white people went from from Democrats, Dixiecrats, to Republican. So essentially, the parties are still the same. Now, with that being said, right, today in 2024, if I ask a black person, why do you vote Democrat, without saying the words Republican, nothing they're going to state is going to highlight where Democrats did anything for black people. All they're going to regurgitate is benign neglect. And I'll land my plane here. Can I finish? If I'm wrong in what I'm saying, everybody, can somebody tell me what have black people specifically gotten besides benign neglect for their vote and their tax dollars? Just give me 3 things.
Okay. I'll counter that with, what do black people do for their...
Can you answer my question? See, why do people do that? They quick to come off the mic. I asked the question.
So hold on.
What have black...
Hold on.
You got a point on that.
We're gonna let you answer the question. Let's try to have a conversation without we getting too upset and passionate. You know how we get. So yeah, just like answer the question. He has a very valid question, and he's not lying. The numbers speaks for themselves. So we can have this conversation, right? So I'll go on mute.
Yeah. Go ahead.
You want me to reiterate the question, or you good?
Go ahead.
You said what? What she said? I didn't hear her.
Oh, no, I think somebody else can go ahead and answer it, because I'm not a Democrat or a Republican, so I think somebody else could answer the question.
Would y'all like for me to reiterate the question? Or?
No, well, the answer to your question, but I think for me, I'm not going to speak for everybody, but for me, the reason why I was a Democrat, it was because everybody in my family was. It wasn't until I started to read the different things that they were for and start to read other things in other parties, and I'm like, I don't really think I'm really okay with being a Democrat. You know what I'm saying? So, and it did piss some of my family off because they're avid Democrats, and they like, what? Why would you change? Because I don't agree with that. You know, I don't agree with this one either, but I agree with more of what they're saying than what the Democrats are saying. So I think we have that monkey see, monkey do, because mama did, daddy did, and this is what we're doing. So that's my answer to your question, but I don't know that first part. I have no clue, but educate me.
Nothing. All we've gotten for our vote and our tax dollars is benign neglect. Everybody, so people will say, well, they can't do anything specific for black people, but they routinely do things specifically for others. 1965, dogs got federal protections, and we still fighting for that. White people get subsidized by the United States government, i.e. tax dollars, even foreign nations. So before anybody sit here and say, well, they don't do the Marshall Plan, that encompasses all 5 forms of reparations. The Dodge Plan. So the Marshall Plan is what rebuilt Europe with American tax dollars, while we got benign neglect. The Dodge Plan helped rebuild Japan with American tax dollars, while we got nothing but benign neglect. Asians who were put in concentration camps during World War II got $88,000 in the 1980s. Italians got reparations in the early 1900s. Indians routinely get reparations. But when it comes to specifically to black Americans, even black people say they can't do nothing specifically for black people. How is that possible when all other ethnic groups, interest groups, political groups are routinely getting reparations or incentives from America? Jews got reparations under Obama. Jews got reparations again 2 years ago, $72 million, $62 million coming from the railroad company that transported them to concentration camps. And guess who advocated for that? Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, and Kamala Harris.
Just have a correction there on not all ethnic groups, not all.
Tell me which ones that didn't.
The same people that are black, that are Caribbeans, they did not.
Wrong. DACA, DREAM. I said incentives. DACA, DREAM, Office of New America, IRAP.
Who? Tell me the black people, the countries that got it. Tell me.
You said. Did you say the countries? Or you want me to talk about what happened? What are we saying here? We talking about here in America or outside of America? What you talking about? Because they just said $200 million.
We're talking about the aid, like the 80,000 that China got. right? We're talking about even the new Americans that's coming through now. We're talking about that. Show me where black people benefited from that.
I got you. I don't know why you like to push back. So, Apartheid Act of 1988, Kennedy Airlift, 1957, where black Kenyan students came over here to go to school for free. One of the recipients was Obama's father. Would you like me to keep, again, the 14th Amendment? I'll just say the 14th Amendment. Founders of Black Americans don't benefit from the 14th Amendment, but immigrants do. Officer, there is no DACA and DREAM without the 14th Amendment.
But what we talked about last time, you know what? I'm not even going there. I want to keep this.
Please don't go there because I gave you the evidence.
So I'm
you just don't like it.
Because there's still less than 13% that immigrants are black.
Do immigrants benefit from DACA and DREAM? Yes or no? Office of New America, do they benefit from it? It's a reality that you just have to accept.
Black people are not benefiting because, one, the amount of people that are black that are immigrants is less than 15%. So we have to focus it, if you want to do that, which is not where I want to do it, you have to focus it where it needs to be focused on, because that's not the case. It's only 13%. So what I want to do is not have this conversation right now, and let's focus on what you were talking about before.
You came off the mic in opposition to what I said.
No, because it's wrong. Because we got to give the right information. Like,
so, do immigrants benefit from DACA and DREAM? Do immigrants benefit from
Of course.
What about Office of New America?
I'm speaking about what you've talked about.
What about Office of New America?
If black people are not benefited, that's why we're in the position we're in.
I got you. I said Founders of Black Americans, ma'am. I don't advocate for y'all. When I say black, I'm talking about foundational black Americans.
Ain't nobody. That's what I'm saying. This is not about who you're advocating for. This is about, let's focus on where the focus
We're having a conversation about black people not benefiting from their vote and their tax dollars.
Right, and
what are you talking about?
And there are black immigrants that are voting are not benefiting too. So you cannot say.
Then explain DACA and DREAM.
Okay, never mind.
Office of New America, Iraq.
You're right. I'm moving on.
If I'm wrong, then explain DACA, DREAM, Office of New America, and Iraq.
I'm not saying that you're wrong with those things. My argument with you has always been in making sure the dialogue is correct. When you're saying black immigrants, it's not all immigrants, and even the ones that are being benefited that are black like you, it's a small amount that doesn't even count. And the reason why they give the benefit to those people that are non-black is so that they can get the votes when it matters, and to make black people the bottom, period. Like where we are, just stay there. So that's what, that's why I tell you this all the time. I like to focus on what will be beneficial, the resources that people need. You say you don't vote. So I don't know how people feel about people that don't vote. I don't know about it.
I still pay taxes.
Okay.
Hold on. I still pay taxes. So I'm a taxpayer. And my constitutional right is freedom of speech because I'm an American citizen.
And you say that to say what?
Because you said I don't vote. I shouldn't say nothing, basically. But I'm still a taxpayer.
No.
I'm still an American citizen.
I'm not saying you shouldn't say anything.
And my constitutional right is for me to exercise my freedom of speech.
If that's how you interpret it, let me take that back. I didn't say you shouldn't speak. Of course, you have a voice. You can do whatever you want to do. But I'm saying when it comes down to at least the topic of this space right now is specific, right? It's specific to education. It's specific to resource. It's specific to people who do not know that there are other candidates. It's just really for educating people, not really to push any one way or another. Our beliefs is just for at least what I would like to get out of it is just about facts. How we can do what we're going to do. I'm telling you, this is the first time, including myself, heard about the whatever we were just talking about, the new Americans. Almost everybody else in here did not even heard of that. They did not know.
What you talking about? You talking about Office of New America? What are you talking about?
Yes, and they did not know that they can actually go and petition to stop it. Like, this is what I'm here for, right? I'm here to provide information that I don't know, get information that from people that I don't know, and share information that other people may know that I don't know.
Amelia, so every time you and I have had this conversation.
Let me finish unapologetic. I promise you I will land. I'm telling you the purpose of this space, to get information that we may know or don't know, and from other people, and share information so we can actually do something instead of just sitting in rooms talking about our fucking agenda. No. What can we do? Who knows about Office of the New Americans? Not most people.
But I've been talking about Office of America for 3 years.
But because you always screaming and acting high and mighty, nobody's listening to you.
You said you've been listening to me say the same things for 3 years. I've been saying Office of America for 3 years. I haven't heard that from you, and I'm telling you, I haven't heard it from you ever. I have not heard it from you ever. I've been saying this for 3 years. What are you talking about? And maybe you have, but my point is, I haven't heard it, and a lot of people haven't either. So there's a way. Why cut me off as I try to explain it?
There's a way, because you're cutting me off. There's a way of disseminating information. Do you want people to get it, or do you want to be?
I was trying. Hold on. You cut me off as I was trying to explain what I was talking about. Did you not do that?
I'm telling you what I want in my room. Why?
I'm trying to do it. The very thing that you said you want me to do, or you want done. You cut me off when I was trying to do it.
Okay, no, you weren't. So what we're not going to do is go back and forth. I'm going to set the table clear, and you can decide to move on or not.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
okay, ma'am. Great. So what we're doing because of this election year, who you're voting for, we are helping, or hope that we're helping, giving some information that we may know or may not know. And I would love for people who have information that would benefit the conversation to share that information. This is no views, people's personal agenda. You can share your opinion, but please let it come with some resource and information that we can educate ourselves about, because that's what this is about. And I'll yield to anyone who is okay with that. Want to speak?
So you want to
D-Gully, I know you were coming. Hold up, on. D-Gully was coming off the mic, so after you go, please give him the mic.
Yes, ma'am. Office of New America, only immigrants can benefit from it. It was headed by Ron Emanuel. It was created by Ron Emanuel before he became the mayor, when he was the chief of staff for Obama. Founders Black Americans cannot benefit from it because we don't fall under refugee status. We don't fall under immigrant status. Another tangible for non-FBA melanated people, white or whatever ethnic group they are, they're not Founders Black Americans. They benefit from that. DACA and DREAM, where Obama passed DACA and DREAM, Trump tried to rescind it. It was overturned by the Supreme Court. His appeal was shot down by the Supreme Court. 850,000 immigrants benefited from it. Even if they came here illegally and their kids was born here, they get the benefit as though they are American citizens. Now, how does labor from the forbidden fruit benefit? How? If your parents came here illegally, how does the kids benefit? American tax dollars. And the Office of America is doing this. It's giving financial literacy. It's giving business credit. It's giving credit scores to non-American citizens. It's even giving them free housing. Legislation. There was a story where come to find out, Ukrainian, Afghan, and melanated people from the Caribbean and Africa are living rent-free, getting cars, free medical. Founders Black Americans don't get that.
So, I think you cited specific examples of why I say typically when it comes to or fiscally tend to vote conservative. And because it's hard to vote with concern for all of my people when consistently Democratic leadership in my inner cities that I grew up and on the national stage, they promote and protect those whose interest would collide with my own. I'll try to make it this example. I noticed that in like the labor force, in the labor area, in the case of, I do factory work, noticed that when I look in the factories and I look around, where maybe 15 to 20 years ago, a lot of people on the production floor moving around the forklifts and the scissor lifts and driving the trucks, they were, to borrow the phrase, and hopefully I'm not speaking out of turn, FBA, like black people like me. You know what I mean? I'm from Ohio, my dad from Illinois, my granddad from Arkansas, and so on and so forth. A lot of us in the factories, at the Kroger distribution center, or at the Stouffer's distribution center, or what have you, black people, okay? And the further you get in the leadership at a building, let's say when you talk about middle management or upper management, we notice that clearly the complexions fade, right? It's a lot of white people in those areas. 20 years ago, all the black people were on the production floor. White people were in the glass offices. 20 years later, it's fewer black people on the production floor, a lot of brown people on the production floor, but the upper management areas are still clear, still white. How is it possible? What makes it possible? And why isn't any time I say, for example, for myself, when I think of, you know what, maybe I could consider a non-democratic alternative. Maybe I could just think about, okay, hey, what about we talking about lowering our tax rates? Anytime I make that insinuation, the very first thing that I get is, oh, you a Uncle Tom, oh, you a house nigga, or you are this, that, and the third, without even considering what the alternative would be. I think when I look at what has happened, when I look at year after year after year, or election cycle after election cycle, particularly the presidential election cycle, we get Joe Biden coming on the Breakfast Club saying what he said. And then 4 years before that, we get Hillary Clinton coming on the Breakfast Club talking about she have hot sauce in her bag. No, she don't. We get pandering every time they need our vote. But as soon as they get it, the things that they say that are influential for us, specifically for us, we get ridiculed for wanting something specific for black people, even though we got a whole entire party campaigning for our vote, saying, pretending that they're going to do something, purporting to do something specifically for black people. But then when we want to hold them accountable, oh, now why you want it to be so niche? And we continue to do, and we only do it one way. We only do it for the Democrat. We have an unwavering allegiance to a party that does not really, I think at this point in time, they don't find it overall financially beneficial to them to even entertain us, because they got other areas of support that they can use to get their votes away from the
they're bringing in the non-black people.
Yeah, so they want our votes because we like black people is predominantly, like, for example, Cleveland, Ohio. I think Cleveland municipal, not the metropolitan area, not the suburbs, but Cleveland municipality is predominantly black. And I think that's the same for cities like Detroit. So those cities are predominantly black cities. And those cities, you'd be damned if you find a Republican in that city or on a council seat or whatever else. But when we talk about how it's been changed and it's going down and it's decayed and it's failing and it's the hood and all of that, all of the redlining, if you will, or the red valuation of a property, of an area has been run by Democrats for decades.
No.
But somehow
No. America. You can't. That's not either part. That's not one party or the other. That's America.
Okay.
Wagner-Steagall Act of 1937. That's bipartisan legislation that led to redlining. That legislation is why they passed the Fair Housing Act of 68. That has done nothing to curb redlining. That's why I brought up that book earlier, Whiteness of Wealth. That's an American issue. Racism is American. It's not political party affiliation. It's not. It's which version of racism do you want? That's why I say the solution, Amelie, actually, you know what? The solution would be Pan-Africanism. Nationally and internationally. That would be the solution. But we don't live in a perfect world. Now, I'm not a Pan-Africanist, but I will do budgets of an African in the Caribbean. I don't. Now, if they come off the mic and they use some xenophobic rhetoric, no, I ain't doing it. Just like I wouldn't do it for a coon that's the founder of Black America. But politically, through my research, that has not been advantageous for Black people. But on a micro level, I don't turn Africans and Caribbeans away from doing the budget because they're Africans and Caribbeans.
Yo, Kimmy, you there? Kim.
Hey, I don't disagree with
What's
you.
What's up, JK?
You said what? You went out. You went out on my end.
I said I don't disagree with you. I don't think you should not be supporting who you are and what you're about and your thing. And so that's why I don't get offended by anybody else who's doing anything. I would do the same. I would support mine the same. But for me, the difference between me and you is I see Black people as Black people. And I understand there's some rotten apple that may not feel or believe that they're Black and may go outside of being Black. And I get that, but that's not the majority of Black people. So I don't, just put everybody in one hand basket because I know that's not the same. There's FBA that you probably won't fuck with, just like you just said, and then there's whatever. But for the most part, generally, I see Black people as Black people, and I'm going to choose Black people before anybody else.
Well, interestingly though, Amelie, is I always find this conversation really interesting because, to my knowledge, it's only been in recent years that people from other places that come to America even refer to themselves as Black. And so it's kind of very new. It is. Usually what the real dynamic was me referring to them as Black and a whole lot of pushback. Nah, I ain't Black. I'm this. Nah, I ain't Black. I'm Haitian or whatever, whatever it was. Melanated or not, there was just a lot of pushback. And so what's interesting now is this conversation where Black has made a change. I mean, because historically, this has not always been the case. I remember this very clearly in my lifetime, and it still happens today. I have a homegirl right now that if I called her Black, she'd be like, what? I ain't Black. I'm Honduran or whatever the heck she is. But the point is that this is a very new thing. Other people claiming this air quotes Blackness. And as far as I can tell, it really only started at the same point that we from here on these shores, we that, they when we get in trouble, they just put us in prison. They don't deport us. They don't have nowhere else to send us because they understand we're from here. You get what I'm saying? But this has never been before. Folks from other places that are melanated calling themselves Black. In fact, it's so new. There's still people that are totally about that life because they haven't even heard of an FBA. And I believe that a lot of this newness is surrounding these conversations and people actually thinking about what these things mean. But this is a very nuanced conversation, and we have to understand that when someone says Black, they don't necessarily mean the same group of people that I might mean or that you might mean or that Un might mean. So since this conversation is in fact so nuanced, we do have to understand the players. So I understand what you mean when you say it. I understand what Un means when he says it. So on a level, he's right. A lot of this history is necessary just to get us all on the same page. So we're all speaking the same language and meaning the same thing when we say a word. Because right now, I've literally heard multiple intersecting monologues using that same word. Because when Un would say it, he meant one thing, but when you would say it, you meant another thing. And then when somebody else said it, they meant another thing. You know, and so, yeah, we're not a monolith, but what I do think we can agree on is that we as melanated people don't want to see us getting executed in the streets publicly and no one doing a damn thing. We don't want to see these gross carriages of misjustice when you happen to be melanated. So, I mean, I think that there's enough solid stuff that we can agree on that, like Un and others say, you know, we don't need to be advocating for our differences. You know, we're all in this trying to win and survive against people that hate us and would pit us against each other, you know, and keep us lost in the sauce, having a nothing burger of a conversation when we can't even agree on what it is that Black means. Because it has changed, and we have to acknowledge that fact. Y'all didn't used to always call yourselves that. That's new. Okay. Just like us self-identifying out of the super Blackness is new. It's very new. It's historic.
So, Roscoe, I hear you loud and clear, and I'm going to disagree. I'm not going to put respectfully, because when people say that to me, or when I say it, I don't mean to be respectful. So I'm just going to wholeheartedly disagree. When I say a word, I am meaning the definition of the word. I don't care about what other people's definition is. I'm going with the definition of the word as it is in the dictionary. And here's what I will agree with. What you said, your experience. And that is your experience. And your experience may be similar to other people. So we have different experiences, right? So I'm going to speak from who I am, not an experience, a reality, right? And I'll let other people speak for themselves. When you're Black, from where I come from, you don't have to say you're Black. You are Black. You are known to be Black, right? You don't escape being Black. That's not what it is. And I can say that my situation could be a little different because I come from a different country where Black people were not second-class citizen. So my experience is definitely going to be different, and probably why I have my point of view, because I'm not, sure with that. So when I say Black, we don't have to talk about being Black because we are Black. That's what we are. So when we come into a place and we think that when people look at us, they can see that we're Black. So when people say, where are you from, which is in my experience, they ask, where are you from? No, not until like I start being often in Miami or Florida, people start asking if I was Black, and I can tell that they're not educated. They'll be like, are you Black or are you Dominican? Dominican is not a race. So I just don't argue with people who just is not educated to know. So I brush that off. So to what you're saying, I don't believe, or I would even speak for people in my country, don't believe that we have to say we're Black if people ask us where we're from. You see the disconnect? So that's one, right? That's one thing right there. I am not here to discount anybody's experience or what anyone believe. That's not what it is for me. I know that I suffer through the same things as a foundational Black American, as a Black person from somewhere else. Okay? Your social, your name, you know what I'm saying? There's certain things that I would say that my dad did a certain way because he is a politician that's been fighting for Black people forever. So he strategically did something when he named us, where he sent us to school or whatever, with the intentions for his children to also make a difference in the fight that he is fighting for Black people. So yes, this is very personal to me, and I'm going to have an opinion. I'm not going to come and fight with Black people to tell me I'm not Black or I don't look Black. I can say I'm a Black American because I'm from South America. It's different. Like everybody say the things like, yes, I'm from South America. Do you understand? So if I say I'm American, it doesn't mean I'm North American. I'm from the U.S. And again, it goes with what people, their idea of what they have in their head, and nobody wants to step outside and educate it. Most people don't want to step outside and educate themselves. You understand? When people ask me where I'm from, I'm going to tell them where they're from. And I think if somebody asks me if I'm Black, I don't even respond to them because I don't want to talk to you. You're an idiot. If you can't look at me and tell me you're Black, what am I talking to you for? So that's where I stand on it. I don't care about the FBAs and the not FBAs. That's not my issue. My issue is I'm going to be treated the same way. I'm going to have to go through the same shit if I want to get a loan. I'm going to have to go through the same shit if I want to get a job. When I'm in a job, I have to go through extra shit to get to pass a certain ceiling. Okay, I'm going to be plagued with the same shit that FBAs are plagued with. That's where I'm coming from. And that's it. And I'll go on mute. I mean to make everybody all quiet. I'm just saying. Dang. Can we get back to sharing info? Dang.
I just say it's very much possible for me to vote, at least when it comes to like a congressionally. It's very much possible for me to vote Democrat or Republican. On a local level, I'm probably a bit more Democrat, perhaps, because I can see that, right? I can see that in my city. I can see that within my neighborhood. So if I vote for a levy, if I vote for anything that involves my tax dollars or ordinances, I can the progress and evaluate whether this is something that is helpful or vote based off of what I would call the integrity. Like, okay, you said this will happen with said levy or said action, and see it, and if it doesn't happen, if I don't see the progress that you committed to with said vote, then I think I'm more easy to change that because it's in my neighborhood versus counting on something happening at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue and I'm all the way in Columbus, Ohio. But I guess maybe again that's when I talk about me voting fiscally, being more conservative, being more for what I perceive to be limiting where and how my tax dollars are spent, and seeing certain benefits of my tax dollars when I did vote, or when a Republican led Congress, when Republicans were in office, or there would be bills sponsored by Republicans. To understand that too is a very tricky game you playing, because when you vote with them, there's going to be the obvious connotation that you support everything that they stand for, or that you totally dismiss certain things that are that questions their character, and that's hard to say because I get that a lot. I'm old enough now; I don't really care. I get into it a lot with my wife because she is the furthest thing from a Republican. She'll never vote for anything red. She even hate my favorite color, red. But so I think that's helpful though, because because she'll never probably entertain a Republican idea in that way. It's helpful to have balance, because I can listen to her from that kind of viewpoint, knowing that I probably I'm a bit more considerate, so I can try to see things from another side that I don't may not be looking at. It helps me to understand that am I considering everything from the opposition. Point is, to vote Democrat, I could vote Republican. I haven't made up my mind yet, but I have grave concerns on both sides, and I'll land there.
And I hear it, and I think that's what Anu was talking about, that people just vote Democrat because they vote Democrat. And the whole purpose of the conversation was really to give people other candidates for them to research, to see, these independent candidates or Green Party or whatever, because historically, like he said, Black people vote Black. My bad, y'all. I try to chime in, but I'm really trying to finish this game. And it's, what the hell? And I got to get it done first, so I'm actually a little behind. And I have a conference call at 1:30, so.
Zaire. Thank you for doing the dishes. That was awesome. Have you tried to find out about your loan with Synchrony Bank?
I just messed with Roscoe and said, thanks. I was just like I said, thanks for the crying. I never knew what I needed so bad. She was like, wait, huh? Like she didn't know she gave me the crown. She playing. I'm playing with Roscoe. I'm like, wait, huh?
You got busy today?
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. From the same all can. Only from the time, rather. Time all.
Facebook.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even. Did the room open up late?
Yeah, we're trying to record. I know Joyce gets to start at 10, so we're trying to get Roscoe open up everything and have it going, and then Joyce come in. We're supposed to be like literally just ready to record when she comes in, but it hasn't been working quite like that. So we're testing it out, and whoever is in, honestly, that's who I start. That's who I start with to make sure we're staying on schedule and make sure it's working the way we need it to work.
Did she open the room late?
No, we've been open since 7 o'clock, 7 a.m.
Oh, I don't know. I'm getting no message.
I personally ping you and P-Dub.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Did P-Dub show?
I had to call him.
Oh. Yeah, I haven't seen nothing. Maybe I just